It's time for another edition of Coach's Corner with women's basketball coach Matilda Mossman.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Coach's Corner with head coach Matilda Mossman, University of Tulsa women's basketball, and quite a week for you, quite a week of traveling, Coach, at UConn and in New Orleans against Tulane. Unfortunately, you lost both of them, but I know you're so proud of the way your team fought and battled up in Storrs, Connecticut.
Yeah, we got off to a bad start in Storrs, and we're playing in front of 8,000 people, so it was a great environment. I mean, it's good for our players to be able to go play in that kind of environment, just to get a real sense of what that kind of atmosphere feels like. So that was really good from that standpoint. So we kind of got down early, and then our kids just kept plugging away. We just kept playing with them. And the big key, though, was we made shots. We went 11 for 24 from the three-point line. And when you make shots like that, it increases your confidence. All of a sudden, you're better on the defensive end. They still shot a decent percentage, but we shot a decent percentage, and I think that was the difference. So with about 5 minutes to play in the game, it's a 10-point game. And I know Gino wasn't very happy with his players, didn't think they played very well, but I was proud of our players for the way that they're still the number one team in the country. They still are full of McDonald's All-Americans, and our kids just battled. Our kids just really competed with them well.
And Coach Auriemma was not happy with his team, certainly at the end of the game made a statement. However, when you don't play well, there's a reason. The other team did some things, so your team did some things.
Well, we like to think that we had something to do with it. If we don't make shots, if we don't make all those threes, then they probably do blow us out. But for us to go there and be able to make shots against a really tall opponent, we've got our guards are 5'7", 5'8", 5'5", and their guards they do have a 5'5" guard that Erica can at least play against. But then their other guards are all over 6 feet tall. And so when you're playing against that kind of length, sometimes it's hard to get open looks. And so I think that was the thing I was the proudest of, is because you can't just make one or two passes and get a great shot against them because of their length. But if you can move the ball side to side, if you can get some inside-outside touches, now you're getting clean looks and against that length. And that's one of the things that we talked to our kids about before the game. If you guys will just be ready when you get open space, you got to take those shots, because you don't know how many times within the offense you're going to get space. You're going to get space to shoot it. And I think that's what our kids did. We had space, and they took shots when they were given that space, and they knocked them down.
And you got 11 offensive rebounds. You lost the rebounding battle only by 2, so you certainly competed in that area too, huh?
Yeah, well, we shot 46% from 3, and we shot 41% from the field overall. So again, it goes back to all those threes that we made and us hitting such a great percentage. I mean, UConn shot 44% themselves. So from a game standpoint, it wasn't like one team just shot the ball more poorly than the other team. Both teams shot it pretty well, and we just happened to be really good from the three-point line.
Well, UConn obviously has blown a lot of people out in that gym, and by 40s and 50s and 60s and that kind of thing. So you're sitting there 10 points behind with 5 minutes to play. Was it almost surreal? Were you almost thinking, you know what, we've got a shot at this?
Well, you put your cell phone away, before the game starts, and then you don't look at it again until after the game. And so by the time I go through and we do media and all that, and I get back to my phone, it's the first time I think that we've lost by 18 and my phone is just blowing up. All these people, what about that game? There's just different people texting and talking about the way our kids played, and you forget that you lost by 18. But I think it gave our players, at least temporarily, a little bit of swag. It made them feel good about themselves, and it was just a perfect way to start that kind of trip.
Yeah, and unfortunately, then you go to New Orleans. You had the extra day. You didn't play until Sunday, and obviously something happened between. It just didn't work out for you on Sunday. And was it a letdown? Was it just Tulane playing well, or what do you think?
Well, I think it's a much harder preparation when you're preparing for Tulane. If you play man against them, they're going to run about 200 different sets, and a lot of it's geared toward getting Colby Morgan the ball. And the first time against us, she had 33. And so, we really wanted to limit her touches. And so sometimes you have to do some things a little different from the norm. But And I think we had a little bit of a letdown. I think because we had to. There were so many things against Tulane that you have to prepare for. And they're going to play you man. They're going to play you 2-3 zone. They're going to play you 3-2 zone, and you have to attack that differently depending on how they're playing. And we could just never get into a rhythm. We got off to a really bad start. We shot 2 for 17 in the first quarter. And, kids are kids. You don't make shots, your shoulders go down, your head goes down, and then all of a sudden you're not solid at the defensive end. And we just got stuck behind the 8 ball early, and we just never really were able to recover.
Yeah, 22.6% from the field. I think that may be your season low, I'm not sure, but it was certainly not what you were hoping for, and you didn't have anybody in double figures. Just a tough day altogether offensively, wasn't it?
Right, and we got against UConn, we go 11 for 24 from 3, and then come back 3 nights later against Tulane, and you go 2 for 24 from 3. I think the other factor was Rebecca Lasky hurt her knee in the UConn game, and she did not, we traveled all day on Friday, and then on Saturday, her knee was still swollen, so we didn't practice her. Didn't think we were even going to have her available to play on Sunday. And then by Sunday morning, it's feeling better. We had the Tulane team doctor look at her, gave her the okay to play. So a kid that we didn't even think was going to play ends up being our leading scorer in the game. And Rebecca's just tough like that, though. She's just a tough kid, and she's going to play through injury. She's going to attack defenses, and I think that's what is a big key to her success. Not only did she score 9 points, but she had 6 steals in the game. And so, that's just due to her being a scrappy, hard-nosed, tough player.
And she's one that has really come on for you, hasn't she? I mean, obviously came in as a freshman, but it's just continued to get better and better, hasn't she?
Well, I think it goes back to she played on a high school team that was very disciplined, very structured. They won games, but they were taught how to play the game, and that makes a huge difference. And so she comes to us with a good base. She comes to us with a thirst for wanting to get better, or a hunger, however you want to say it. And she does what we ask her to do. She understands the game, and really it's just she's effective in what we're asking her to do. So that's garnered her more playing time. It's garnered her starts, and it was much better being able to have her on the floor than the thought of maybe not having her.
And Erica Wakefield, even though she didn't shoot as well against Tulane, overall she had a decent week. I mean, she had 13 points against UConn and 9 assists, so she really ran your offense, especially in the UConn game.
Yeah, especially in the UConn game. Third quarter, she had a flurry of about 3 straight possessions where she came down and scored. And, she's scoring by getting into the paint. And, they're all big. They've got a 6'6" kid in there waiting for her. And she understands when she feels the second line of defense, when to pull up and shoot it, as opposed to trying to get all the way to the rim and trying to attack a 6'6" player. I thought she was really, really smart in that game and how she attacked.
And you did get Kendrian Elliott back. Now she has the bruised knee, or the bruised area just below the knee. So
right.
Good to get her back, but she's got to work her way back in too, I'm sure. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, she played limited minutes, but we didn't know how much she would be able to tolerate. And at this point, it's a deep bone bruise, and we've got to see what she can tolerate. She hadn't practiced all week, so I think she played 10 minutes in the Tulane game, and now we don't have a midweek game, so it gives us another week to try to get her a little bit more game ready.
In a moment, we'll be back and we'll talk about the week coming up. No midweek game for the Golden Hurricane. We'll discuss that in a moment on Coach's Corner.
Power is excitement, energy, an unrelenting spirit. Its success is realized on the court, and its passion is felt in the hearts of players, coaches, and fans. And it all comes together in a conference known as the American. The American Power for Life.
We're back on Coach's Corner with head coach Matilda Mossman, and you don't have the midweek game. Obviously, you have a Saturday game at home against UCF, but what do you do when you don't have the midweek game and you have a chance to take a deep breath?
Well, I think the big thing is we get back to academics. In the first 2 weeks of classes, we happen to have road midweek games. And so then you have a holiday in there. And I think we figured out in the first 2 weeks of school, our players went to their Monday, Wednesday, Friday class twice, and they went to their Tuesday, Thursday class once. So now that we have, in fact, people were getting off the bus last night when we got back to campus saying, I'm so glad I'm going to be able to go to all my classes this week. I mean, it's tough, and just that's the way the conference schedule fell. And there's nothing we can do about it. But now we're going to use that time for them to get caught up. So on Monday, Monday's kind of a film, weights, maybe get some shots up day. Tuesday's a day off. Just go take care of your academic issues. Let's try to get caught up a little bit. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, be preparation for UCF on Saturday.
So at least 3 days there right in a row, which you don't get very often to practice. Right. So you can get some things done then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's rare that you get 3 days to get ready for a team. Typically it's 1 or 2. So having the 3 days will be nice. UCF's a really good team. We split with them last year. We won at their place. They won here after we had led for like 38 and a half minutes, kind of came back from a 9-point deficit. But they're a very good team. They're very physical. They're going to be hard for us to match up with.
Yeah, and they're a team that the programs continue to improve. A second-year head coach, they're 5-2 now, so they're going to be a load on Saturday, aren't they?
Yeah, this is Coach Abe's second year, and those guys have really bought into her style of play, her system, and then they've added a couple to the mix. They've got a transfer that came from Albany and sat last year. So she's putting some pieces in there now that she feels comfortable with in terms of players that fit her style. But I think the key thing is that the guys that she inherited, they've really bought into her style of play.
And of course, you're piecing it all together as you have all year long, and trying to, getting Kendrian back certainly is a help. But are you getting to the point now where you're pretty comfortable with your rotations and all that?
Well, it seems like every time we get comfortable, something else happens. The deal with Tatiana Perez is now out pretty much, I guess, for the season. She had surgery on the ligaments in her thumb last Tuesday, so we don't have her in the rotation anymore. Kendrian, we found out about her knee injury on that same day. It both occurred in the East Carolina game 2 weeks ago. So didn't have Kendrian for a week, and then the thought of not having Rebecca there for a couple of days. So it's still but it's this time of the year, and it's with everybody. Everybody's having the same issues. People are banged up right now. It's once you get to conference, it's a grind, and you've got to prepare for the next team, but you also have to be concerned about keeping your players healthy, keeping their legs, keeping them fresh both physically and mentally.
So good time for that midweek bye, if you will.
Yeah, and then we're going to get another one, I think, next week. So hopefully back-to-back weeks will help us refresh and reset and get some people healthy, but more than anything, get people back to where they need to be academically.
Coach, good luck. Have a great week.
Okay, thanks, Bruce.
Head coach Matilda Mossman, Golden Hurricane, hosting UCF at 2 o'clock on Saturday right here at the Reynolds Center. For the coach, I'm Bruce Howard, and that's it for Coach's Corner.